So Steve, what do we actually mean by mastery learning?
Mastery learning is where the students progress when they've achieved a certain level of mastery over a particular area of the curriculum or a particular unit of the curriculum. So in most schools, teachers plan the curriculum and the class move along through the predetermined plan. In mastery learning, what's different is that you test to make sure that the students have achieved at least 80% mastery of the content that's determined, so they need to understand what's been taught before you move on to the next unit.
So the toolkit evidence suggests that there are some mastery learning approaches that seem to work very well, but others that seem to work less well. What's behind that?
There are a number of challenges, I think, in implementing mastery learning effectively. Those that seem to work best are those where there's some collaborative learning involved, particularly where there's a team assigned to take responsibility to ensure that all members of the team succeed in learning or in understanding the particular curriculum content. I think where it's less successful, the teacher struggles to ensure that enough children are succeeding before you move on to the next topic. It can be quite difficult if some of the class achieve mastery and others don't. It's hard for the teacher to pace that, and as a result teaching can become very individualised.
So do these approaches work for older children in particular?
The evidence is strongest for upper primary and lower secondary, particularly when children are able to identify and measure their progress against the curriculum and are able to work in groups.
A lot of Asian education systems use mastery learning. Do you think this is why they perform so well in the international comparisons?
It's always hard to tell what components of an education system make it effective. And that's why I think it's important that we take something like Singapore Maths and test it in a British context. It's hard to be certain whether or not it'll be effective, but it's certainly worth finding out.
And what would you say are the top tips for teachers?
I think one of the challenges is planning the curriculum and breaking it down into effective steps that you can identify that the students need to master in order to progress. And then the other is pacing, working out how you provide support to students who are struggling, and when students are successful, what you do to ensure that the whole class makes progress together.